If you're watching this video and you're 13 plus to all the way up to like 35, I consider you Mandem. I'll call you one of the boys. Welcome to the Mandem Konsultancy. My first consultancy is going to be based around confidence. Confidence in all aspects of life because it can benefit you in ways that you haven't imagined. As young men, we're being pitched the ideas of financial freedom, going down a fitness, healthy lifestyle, maybe even a degenerate path. Whatever you choose to go down, can we all agree on the fact that having confidence would boost your life? So the question is, why do so many of you lack confidence? Let's say you're someone who's socially awkward. You don't know how to speak up in certain situations. Then this series is for you. Let's say you're someone who is confident. I am confident in myself, in my talking abilities and whatever it may be, but there's still something holding you back from where you want to get to. Maybe you're not harnessing that energy the right way. Maybe you haven't put yourself in situations where you can excel. Then this series is for you. I'll explain how this series is going to be pitched to you lot. 5 episodes, and we're going to be focusing on 5 different ways we can build your confidence. With the Mandem Consultant, you will be a confident fella. Now, the first aspect of building your confidence is communication. Communication is key. You've heard it. Well, what does it mean? How can I get better at it? Now, I'm not perfect, but there's steps you can take, which I am taking, which we can all take, and it will only benefit us to help you get better at communicating your point. Now, some might say, oh, you speak like a road man. That's what I've been getting when I've been on TikTok and Instagram. And then other people will say, oh, you're forcing this, you're forcing that. It don't matter. No matter where you are across the globe, someone will have something to say about the way you talk. You might be a bit slow. You might be monotone. We can help with that. Don't think whatever situation you're in now will determine the end result. You can improve your speech. And communication isn't just purely about speech, about how the words come out of my mouth. It's also the language you're using. It's also the body language behind the speech you're conveying, right? Because I'm moving about, you see it. Now, growing up, they said I had ants in my pants. Now when I do it, people say, bro, you're really engaging. Depends how you view it, right? But no matter what angle, what lens you're looking through, having great communication skills directly links to having good confidence, to boosting your confidence and getting yourself out there. So the question is, how do you get better at communicating? Well, first of all, try thinking before you speak. Now, I'll tell you why. If you're not already doing it, why you need to start thinking before you speak. Because if you feel like you talk and you stammer across your words, maybe you just got verbal diarrhea. And I suffer with it too, especially in situations where you want to get your point across. Let's say you're getting passionate about something. Usually, that's when I'm just all over the place. But if you take a second to breathe and just think about the next word you're about to say, it's a lot easier to not stammer. Another thing that you probably suffer from is just the anxiety of having that conversation. Now, you might feel like, this don't apply to me. I've never had a situation where I'm scared to have that conversation. Well, I'll tell you about me. I was scared every parents' evening about the conversation I had with my dad on the drive home. That's what you call conversation anxiety. And you have them situations as you go through life. Don't think that, oh, just because you're a big bad man now in the world, you're not going to have conversations you don't want to have. You will. It just comes to you differently. Even in situations where, let's say you got nicked. Let's say you got a girl pregnant. Let's say you lost a huge amount of money or you're in debt and you need to have that conversation with your partner, with your parents, with your siblings. How are you best going to communicate what's happened in your life, good or bad? Sometimes you're spooking yourself out before having that conversation. And usually, when you're going into a conversation with a foggy brain, you're going to slip up and you may say something that's going to hurt the other party or that's going to make you look bad or you're going to expose something. So much can go wrong because you just didn't think before you spoke. And because before the conversation, you were just getting worked up. You let your emotions play with your mind. And now you're not going into it clear-minded. Now, another aspect of communication which we should focus on is being able to grab the attention of a room. I'm in this room by myself, but I've caught the attention of you online. How can we do this in real life? How can, when you're in that car with your boys, you can grab the attention in your seat? How can we, when you're in the living room with your family and there's a TV on and the kids crying, how when you talk, does everyone listen and chime into what you have to say? If you're in the school lunch table, are people listening to your story? If not, how can we make that happen? Well, first, a huge aspect is body language, is using what God gave you. Now, if I'm in the room just sitting like this, not even like this, I might be like this, and just start talking. Yeah, guys, so, the other day I went to... Nah! I don't want to hear it! Guy, I don't want to hear it. If you're telling me, "Hey, boys," or "Listen to this," or "The other day," right? Mr. fucking whatever his name was, listen, use your body. Be a man, dog. Capture the room's attention. Now, I know it might be hard in the beginning, but start to feel like your words are being expressed through your limbs, right? Because it's just as important. Whatever's coming out your mouth is of this value. And the way that you're conveying it with body language is of the same value. Non-verbal communication, like eye contact, like body language, is almost the building block of confidence. And I'll tell you why. Because you know a confident guy when he looks you dead in the eye and he gives you that handshake and he doesn't falter. He's not looking around and he's just, just scratching or just jittery. The jittery guy doesn't give me the vibe that if I was in the plane, he can control the plane. He's fucking jittering. You can't even keep your hand straight. How are you going to land this plane? If I'm on a flight, I want that 15-pound Wizz Air flight. And the pilot's conked out and they said, "Yo, we can't land this plane. Can someone do it?" I'll put my hands up. Brother, I drove it to the airport. I'll land this shit, get in my car and go home because I got shit to do. Sometimes you just got to stand up, boys. Be confident. And I'm telling you, the non-verbal aspect of communication is so key. The next one is listening. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you should listen double the amount that you're talking. When you're with someone, whoever they may be, and you want to be able to be leaving that conversation with the upper hand, think about, is it in your best interest to talk more or to talk less? Active listening. When you're having a conversation with someone and it's their turn to talk, because remember, we're adults, we're mature, this is how life works. There's conversations between A and B. A has a turn to talk and B has a turn to talk. Don't be these immature zoo animals who speak over each other. You don't seem confident when you're doing that. In fact, you seem insecure that you're speaking over that person to just get your point across. If you can accurately convey your point of the argument where it's your turn to talk, then you don't need to talk over the other person. In fact, you active listen. You listen when it's their turn to talk. Understand what they're trying to say. Understand what point of view they're having, their perspective behind what they're saying. Why are they even thinking that? Because once you understand those 2 things, it helps you articulate your answer. Because remember, we're trying to think before we speak. So if you don't listen to that other person talk, how will you build your response? Because if you're someone who doesn't listen and you're just thinking about getting your next point, because you know those people, you speak to them they're not listening to you. They're just thinking about what they're going to say, especially in scenarios where you're in an argument or a heated debate. But let me tell you, the confident man, the person who can get his point across, he listens. He understands what the other person has to say. If you're with a person of value, someone who you can get advice from, you listen. You listen so much that you take all the information they give you, and wherever this cracks, that's where you ask questions. That's where you be effective in the way you fill in the gaps of information you're receiving. Because asking questions is the best way to learn. Another aspect I want to focus on is humor. But there's a way to effectively use humor. And the people who do it best are the ones who have one-liners. And if you're someone who speaks a little less, or let's say you're a bit more on the introverted side, so you're not running jokes in the room, but you chime in with a one-liner. Brilliant, brilliant. And the amount of wonders it does for your confidence. When you drop a good joke, and the whole room is laughing, the class is laughing, whatever situation, using humour is so underrated. So that's the end of episode 1, communication. I hope you boys took some benefit from that. Leave me your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in episode 2.